Hi, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you all here today at our second Nimdie series for the year. The Nimdie series is brought to you proudly by the United Nations Development Program in Ghana, and it's funded by our core partners. We're grateful for their contributions. It's a pleasure to have you all. If we can just say a quick hello in the chat, let's know who is here with us. Are you an MSME? Are you a business? Are you a business owner? Are you joining us out of curiosity? What are your expectations for today? Please say hello in the chat. Tell us who you are. Tell us the name of your company or where you're working. We'd love to know who's joining us today. Hello, Adam. How are you? I see that you're unmuted. Hopefully your sound is working now. Okay. But it's a pleasure to see you. Let me check the chat. Today we have an exciting lineup of activities for you. Also let us know if you were with us a few months ago when we had the physical version of the Nimdie series in the Accra International Conference Center. If you were with us, also just say a quick hi. It would be great to know who's here with us this afternoon. But today we have a very exciting lineup of activities. We're going to be hearing from a very distinguished guest who has a lot of experience working with businesses like ours. But he's going to be sharing his wisdom, his knowledge, his experience on product and service innovation. And then we'll also be hearing from one of us, an MSME who has implemented products and service innovation, and he's going to be sharing with us what it looks like on the ground. So after we hear the theoretical of product and service innovation, we'll also be seeing what it looks like when you implement it successfully and how he has transitioned his product from what it was a few years ago to what it is now. And I've had the pleasure of, I know him personally, so I'm very excited for him to share what that journey looks like. And then, of course, we'll have the opportunity to interact. You can ask your questions, you can make suggestions. It's going to be a very, very interactive session. I'm not seeing anyone in the comments, but I want to believe that. Let us know if you're having trouble typing in the chat, but it's going to be a very interactive session today, so it will be great to see who is here with us this afternoon. And whilst we do that, it's my pleasure to first of all welcome our Head of Inclusive Growth and Accountable Governance here at UNDP Ghana. He's in the person of Dr. Edward Amprochum, and he'll give us an official welcome and tell us why we are gathered here this afternoon. Edward, over to you.
Hello.
We can hear you. Over to you, Edward.
Thank you. Can you see me as well?
Yes, please, we can see you.
Okay. Thank you, Amelia, and good afternoon to everyone gathered here, particularly our MSME friends who are joining us for this very insightful conversation. And for me, it's a pleasure to be back to you again, following our recent conversation at the International Conference Center. As distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, MSMEs gathered, good afternoon once again. It's a pleasure to join you today on the 5th edition of the Nimdie Series. As we call it, the Nimdie means knowledge, which is an Akan word reflecting the core principles of this initiative. This is the unique UNDP initiative that seeks to create the space for critical knowledge sharing and strategies to innovate the complex landscape of business and trade. Just last Friday, UNDP, together with partners, marked the MSME Day, and part of that event was the soft launch of the Digital Gateway. So for us, we're always in the space of making sure that MSMEs are in a position to do better. And we're doing this because we know the value of MSMEs and the space they cover. Currently, we know that MSMEs are the backbone of Ghana's economy, and over 90% of businesses are within this MSME space. Today, we focused on the theme product and service innovation, staying ahead of a competitive market. That, for me, it's a very, very interesting topic. Staying ahead in a competitive market through product and service innovation. The ability to innovate, whether through new products, improved services, or streamlined delivery models, is what sets thriving businesses apart from the rest. In an increasingly competitive environment, innovation is not just an advantage, it's a necessity for survival and growth. And indeed, the last time we met at Conference Center, one of the key things that came up with the fact that a lot more MSMEs die after 3 years of operation. And one of the killers we've identified through our research and our studies is the role that product innovation and service innovation plays. If you want to stay alive and you want to stay competitive, then you got to innovate you need to survive through innovation and service ideas. So for us, this is very important, especially where MSMEs are operating or aiming to take advantage of the very big AFCFTA market that Africa has. So for us today, this is a very important topic. We're excited that we have very, very competent resource persons who understand clearly how these things happen. And we're happy that they've graciously accepted to be part of this event. We know that we couldn't have done this without the support of key partners. We thank the core partners of UNDP who have made it possible for UNDP to be around and to support this work called the Nimdie Series. We also want to thank our distinguished speakers, as well as the MSME actors who have graciously agreed to share their experience in driving innovation. Again, we want to thank our partners who are helping us with managing this event as well. There's a lot that has gone into making sure you're all being served well through this program. Today is not just about listening, and I would urge you that it's also about engagement and action. Engagement doesn't only take place in the fiscal conversations. We also do B2B engagements on virtual platforms. So it's important to identify those who are here and then how we can jump into or connect with their businesses. We urge you to actively participate, ask questions, exchange ideas, and take notes of the tools and strategies that will empower you and your businesses to succeed. Take advantage of the tools and insight offered here to enhance your product and service offerings, improve your business models, your delivery models, and adapt to market trends. It's very, very important that we adapt to market trends because the market can leave you behind and your fantastic idea will become something that will not sell. In conclusion, UNDP Ghana remains a very committed partner to your journey as an MSME. We believe in the transformative power of innovation and the pivotal role of MSMEs playing in shaping Ghana's future. Thank you for your dedication to growth, and we look forward to seeing your businesses lead the way in creating sustainable, inclusive solutions. Thank you. Over to you, Amelia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Edward. Dr. Edward has been pivotal to making sure that Nimdie Series happens, and we are so grateful for your kind words. And thank you all for your introductions and the chat. It's wonderful to see we have representatives from the beekeeping value chain. We have Ebi Foods, we have Cornerstone Innovations, we have many, some have dropped their LinkedIn handles, which is great so that we can connect. Allow me to recognize Christian Balagi, who is the president of the Association of Small Scale Industries. Thank you for joining us. And I know we also have the president of Beekeepers Association of Ghana as well. I saw you somewhere in the chat, so thank you very much for joining us. I know you're not here to listen to me, and we're very eager to hear from our speaker for this afternoon. So allow me to tease you a little with a brief introduction for our speaker. But he was named among 100 most influential young Africans. He's also named among the 50 most influential young Ghanaians, and also 60 young leaders in Ghana by Coca-Cola. He was also a finalist for the African Leadership Academy and Sisha, I can never pronounce that word, prize for African entrepreneurship, which was sponsored by the MasterCard Foundation. But he's worked with the British Council as a consultant for the past 8 years, and he has trained over 5,000 youth in Ghana on entrepreneurship, personal development, and skills acquisitions. He obtained his training in Senegal, and South Africa by the Coventry University. And he has extensive knowledge in what we're going to be discussing here today. At some point in time, he was a regional coordinator for the Social Enterprise Network, and he was also a consultant at the National Youth Entrepreneurs Chamber. He runs the Ambitious Student Mentorship Program, and he has over 240 students in 19 universities in Ghana and 50 other mentors, building the capacity of students and guiding them to make the right career choices. But he is phenomenal, and he's an internationally certified coach by the International Coaching Federation and an experienced trainer and managing consultant. So, ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs and entrepreneuries. What is the female? Is it entrepreneurs or is it entrepreneuries? Entrepreneurs and entrepreneuries. It's my pleasure to welcome Ekow Mensah, who is our facilitator for today. And Ekow, some of the expectations that have been expressed by our guest today. One expectation here is to learn and transfer the knowledge to my business. And a few other expectations that are here. We are planning towards this is a message for us, but a lot of expectations here, but I know people are very excited to hear from you. So Ekow, over to you.
Okay, pressure. Good afternoon, all. How are you doing? So my name is Ekow Mensah. I'm sure whatever my CV or my profile is read, a lot of people expect like a thick, tall. This is me, so you have to deal with me. But I'm always excited to work with SMEs, small businesses and startups, because as you all know, you are the engine of economic growth. And essentially, in an economy where almost 90% of all our businesses are actually under SMEs, it's important to, focus on building our capacities to be able to grow the economy of Ghana and contribute our quota to the African, continent and the world at large. So just give me a wave if you can hear me and if you're ready for today. Can you hear me? Okay. Jacqueline, good to see you. Unfortunately, I don't have too much time, so I will go straight into a presentation I've put together, and then I'll try and finish it quickly. I promise I'll share my presentation when I'm done, and then I'll take a few questions, and then we'll see how best we can both work together to transform your business. So let me see if I can share. I think I can. Please let me see. Let me know if you can see my screen.
It is loading.
It's loading.
Okay.
Yes,
we can see your screen.
You can see it now.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. All right. So today I'm going to take you through products and service innovation, staying ahead in a competitive market. And let me just say that more than ever, nobody has an excuse to be ignorant, right? 10 years ago, you didn't even have an excuse to be ignorant because we had Google. But now you even don't have more excuse to be ignorant because we have AI. And just at a click of a button, just putting in some prompts, you get so much information. So the emphasis for my training since AI has never been just sharing information, but helping you to really think through your business and then coming up with practical steps to start implementing immediately. So today we're going to do both, right? I'm going to share knowledge and I'm going to also give you some practical things you can do immediately to start transforming your business. And because time is limited, I'm going to flip my presentation because I've been made to understand that this series has given you a lot of knowledge. So we should go straight into the practicals. So I'm going to flip my presentation and then start with some profound statements that I always share with business owners and entrepreneurs. And then we can go into a system that I have developed called the demand scale, right? And this is from years of experience as a practitioner and also a consultant trainer for businesses. So we go through the demand scale, then we look at what products and service innovations are, and then other things that we can do. So this is our agenda for today. I have something called 4 critical statements, and then introduction to the demand scale, and then product innovation, service innovation, why innovation matters, key drivers of innovation, measuring innovation success, and understanding competitive markets. Like I said, I will generously share my slides when I'm done so you can have access to the information. So you don't need to, copy notes or try and screenshots and then, lose the essence of what we are doing today. So just relax, you get the content. All right, so let's start with the critical statements. And let me know which ones you agree with, all right? Which ones do you agree with? The first one is your business is a reflection of who you are, and its current state is a reflection of what you can do. All right. A lot of the times when I talk to entrepreneurs, especially, that means that those that started and are running their business, I tell them that there's a difference between starting a business, which makes you a shareholder, and actually taking a position which is like MD, CEOs, head of operations, or whatever position you give yourself. Those two things are different. One is an investor in a business, the other one is an employee in a business. And that if you are running your business, you should know that who you are is reflected in the state of your business. I shared this with the Chamber of Commerce business leaders, and these are, very experienced people in business. And one of them said they don't agree with me. And I was like, okay, the truth about business is that whoever you are, that is who your business is as well. So then when you get to a point where you're dissatisfied with the state of your business, what you need to do is to change who you are and start from changing your knowledge, changing your attitude, your habits, and most importantly, changing your exposure, because you might find yourself in circles that don't really push you to want to do more. So this is just a statement. I'm not going too much into it, but maybe one day I'll get a chance to explain further, but then take it. The second one is your 3 greatest assets are your time, your mind, and your people. And as business people, every time I interact with you, when I ask you, what are your challenges? The first thing you say is capital. We need money. We need money. But the truth about money is that that is man-made. What is divine is 24 hours, and everyone has 24 hours. The question you have to ask yourself is, especially in a competitive market, how is it that you're doing the same thing as another person and their business is growing and thriving and yours doesn't seem to be doing the same? So maybe you're probably not using your time right. Maybe you're not getting the knowledge and experience you need, or maybe you're not paying attention to the people that are around you. And here, let me just share that when you start a business, you're an employee. But when you want the business to grow, there's a place that professionals play. And a lot of SMEs think that professionals are expensive to deal with. Professionals like myself, business consultants, you think that we are expensive to deal with. But I always say that it's interesting how we put money into rent, we put money in setting up our office, we put money into furniture, we put money even in employing people, but we don't think that it's important to put money in getting professionals who can help you scale, right? Every business, according to me, has about 7 different units. And then all those 7 units have experienced professionals who the MSME may not be able to pay as an employee. But it's important that you recognize their importance in helping you build the framework within which your business will grow and thrive. So figure out how to use consultants, use professionals who can help you in the various categories of your business, from sales to marketing to governance to leadership to operations and every aspect of your business. When you bring in these professionals, either as consultants or employees, they'll be able to help you, structure your business and build a system that will enable your business to thrive. So bear these three assets in mind. The third one is your business grows with profits, not passion, and the growth is sustained with demand, not desire. This is another controversial statement by me, which a lot of business people find very interesting and sometimes challenge me on it. But the truth is, profit is what grows business. You may be passionate about, starting a business. You may be passionate about your product, your service. You may be passionate about capturing another market and all that. But then if you're not passionate about making profits, at the end of the day, your business will not grow. And then if you are not able to determine what the desire of your customers are, and then be able to provide products and services that meets them at the point of their need, then your business is definitely not going to sustain its growth. So bear the statements in mind as well. These are just my background statements to help you in thinking through this. This is my fourth statement and my final one for today. The most important goal of any business is to capture, keep, and grow your market size, demand. I don't know what your focus has been in your business, but if you've ever gotten to the point where maybe growth is stagnant, if you've ever gotten to the point where you're not really growing, bear this in mind. The most important goal of every business is to capture, keep, and grow your market size. And that's what we are here for. How do you innovate products and service to be able to compete in a market, right? So let's look at the demand scale quickly. What is the demand scale and where is your business at this moment, right? So demand scale is something that I developed over the years of experience with dealing with businesses and growing businesses myself. And this scale is between 1 and 10, okay? 1 is when you have very low demand, and then 10 is when you have extremely high demand or even monopoly over your market, right? So this is the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? It's a framework for what your business should focus on. And depending on the number you are on that scale, this would definitely help you. This training will definitely help you. So the demand scale is a framework for business focus. It helps businesses to determine the most effective strategy for growth and sustainability. This demand scale is a strategic model that measures market pull, how strongly the market demands what a business offers. The score, as I said, is between 1 to 10. So let's look at it. When you are in the 1 to 4 zone, okay, which is the first set, you have low demand, okay, and then your focus should be branding, marketing, and customer acquisition. All right? Between a scale of 1 to 10, which I call the demand scale, if you're between 1 to 4, it means that you have not gotten to a point where naturally or normally people are always asking for your business. People are always trooping in, people are always making demands. People are always using your products or service. If you're at that point, you are between 1 and 4. And in that point, what you need to do is to be able to focus on branding, marketing, sales, and customer acquisition. My experience with a lot of entrepreneurs is that they don't move from being entrepreneurs to being business people. You see, when you're an entrepreneur, your focus is product development, innovation, pitching, and then looking for money. It's interesting. But the moment you become a business person, your focus should be sales, sales, and sales, which is at the core of capturing market size. A lot of business people have found that don't really like sales because in their mind, sales is tedious and they have to move from door to door. But the world has completely changed, right? So when you find yourself between 1 and 4, please bear this in mind. You have low brand visibility, recognition, high market competition, and product substitution. Customers are not actively seeking the product or service, and your startups or businesses are in a saturated or misunderstood markets. Now, what are your strategic needs? Strong branding, aggressive marketing, sales systems, customer education, and then frequent promotions and trials. Again, I'll share my slides, so don't worry about it. Examples, a new clothing brand in a crowded retail market, or a tech startup with an unfamiliar solution, or a niche service in a market that hasn't matured yet, which is maybe virtual interior design in a low-tech region, right? Advice, businesses in this range must fight to earn attention. Focus on visibility, lead generation, and consistent value communication. That is for people or businesses that are in between 1 and 4 on the demand scale. Let's look at 5 to 7. This is moderate demand on businesses, right? These are for growing and established but competitive businesses. Now, the strategic focus is service excellence and customer care. Service excellence and customer care. And in other presentations I've done on this demand scale, some people ask me, so are you saying that customer care is not important when you're between 1 to 4? I'm not saying that, but the truth is that the louder you are, the more people are convinced that whatever you're providing is good. Quality is at the basis of everything you're doing. So you found a solution, and then you're giving customers that solution. As long as they keep buying, it means that there's a tendency that the solution is good enough. As you grow your demand and you grow your profit, you keep improving, right? That's why I said is the demand is what should drive you, not desire. Because a lot of us are excited about changing things, but if the customers don't want you to change things, you don't change them. Okay, so between 5 and 7 is where you focus on what? Service excellence and customer care. The characteristics are there's a steady demand, but not enough to guarantee consistent sales without effort. Competitors exist, but you have some level of differentiation. Customers are aware of your product and service category and expect a high quality experience. So this is the time where you've been able to capture enough market size, and then you're building on that. So this time you give excellent customer service and then provide customer care. What is the strategic needs? Customer service excellence, process optimization, reputation management, loyalty and retention, and then what? Team training. So examples, a mid-sized beauty salon with many local competitors, a well-established restaurant in a food district, a regional logistics company competing with global players. It is no longer about being seen, it's about being remembered. Focus on creating unforgettable experiences that keep customers coming back. Now, the last zone in the demand scale is 8 to 10. This is businesses that have very high demand, right? These are market leaders or monopolies. Okay, strategic focus is making the products available, efficient, and building systems that work. Okay, an example is ECG. Okay, ECG is one of those businesses that no matter how upset you are with them, when the light goes off and it comes on, you will still use the product. You wouldn't say that, oh, I'm using generators, so ECG should just go. I won't use them again. It's not possible. So you see, ECG does not need to do sales. ECG does not even need to have good customer service, because whether you like it or not, you and I would use it. Okay, so now what ECG has to do, being in the zone 8 to 10, is that they have to just make the service available, and that will make them money. That's just it, right? So there's a high or monopoly level demand. Currently, MTN is getting to that point where they are monopolizing the market in a way that no matter how upset you are with them, because you know a lot of people use it, you still stay with them, right? So all they need to do is to make sure their networks are working, their data is working, and then they automatically make money. The same thing applies to MTN Momo as well. You know, they are monopolizing the market to some extent, and because of that, they don't even need to market or sell. But just think about it. Even they, with all the monopoly they currently have, they still market, they still try to provide good customer service, and they still make sure that the service is available. How much more you and I? All right. So often essential service with few or no alternatives, and then you are the default or only option for most consumers. A lot of us are not here yet. Okay, so what they need is availability and reliability, infrastructure and systems, customer flow management, regulatory compliance, and then public relations and social impacts. Like I said, examples, ECG, Ghana water to some extent, because some of us have alternatives, right? Some of us do boreholes, and then most of us don't drink it. So then, because there's an alternative, they are not necessarily monopolizing the market. But the question is, which other choice do we have beyond them? So when you ask yourself that question and then you still come back to the same answer, then it means that they are the point of monopoly. Now, the question is your business at that point? Okay, so this is a summary of the table. And I'm sure when I share with you and then you take your time, you'll be able to determine where you are. And then when you know that you are between 1 to 4 or 5 to 7, which most SMEs are, these are the things that you need to focus on. How do you innovate your service and your products to be able to capture enough market size? So this is the summary. Where on the demand scale is your business at the moment? And here I would love to see some answers, if you would give me in the chat box. So give me your number. What number do you currently have on the demand scale? Just give me a number between 1 to 10. 1 to 4, it means that you are not at the point where if you don't market, you will still make money. Maybe you make money, but then you need to consistently market because it's highly competitive. You always have to create awareness. You always have to sell. You always have to do digital marketing and all those things just to make sure your business is going, is growing. But then if you're between 5 and 7, you're like a salon that is already overwhelmed with clients. And now they are even figuring out how to introduce booking systems. You have to book before. There are some restaurants that also are overwhelmed with clients. So then they have what we call a good problem. A good problem in business is when your supply, when your demand is more than your supply. Okay, so between 5 and 7, they are getting to the point where their demand is more than their supply. So they have to focus on providing excellent customer service. Now, between 8 and 10, their demand has outgrown the supply. So they just need to make sure there's consistent supply and they will make money. So tell me where you currently are in the chat box. And I can see James saying 1. James, you need one-on-one coaching with me. Because if it is 1, it means that you're literally struggling to be able to capture clients all the time. Sometimes you're even trying to figure out if what you have is selling, if people want it, you're still even at the MVP stage and you're not able to really sell without actively marketing. So somebody like James, you need to really focus on sales. A lot of us, when we start business, we are really focused on product innovation and then providing solutions to problems. But the truth is, businesses is about selling products and services, not necessarily new things, right? Coke has been there for over 100 years and they are still selling Coke. There was a time that they changed the Coke formula and a whole city went on demonstration just to let them bring it back to the old formula. Why? Because they've gotten to a point where they are monopolizing the market when it comes to a certain category, right? And I can see Lucy saying 4. I can see Frederick saying 4. Jerry is between the 1 and 4. Jacqueline is between 1 and 4. Idrisu is between 2. Boache Sylvester is 3. Janet is 2. Letitia is 1. And then Ivy is 1. So I get why you are in the Nimdie series. But I can tell you for a fact that if you're excited and very passionate about your business, let that excitement and passion be focused on sales. Learn about sales, learn about marketing, learn about branding. And for those of you who are always saying that, oh, you're not very good with digital marketing, you don't have to be good with it because nobody was born with it. There are 2 options you have. Either you find the money to hire somebody who is good with it, or you spend the time to get the knowledge to ensure that you're good with it. It's only 2 things. It's either you're putting in money to get the results or you're putting in time to get the knowledge so that you can get the results yourself. All right. So these are just background foundational building things that I'm sharing with you, right? But then knowing where you currently are, now I'm hoping that you would pay attention a bit more as we get into what products and service innovation is. Now, like I said, I flipped my script. So then when we are getting done, then I'll tell you the types of competitive markets that there are. But then let's look at what products and service innovation is. So what do you think product innovation is? You can unmute and then speak, or you can put it in the chat box. When we say product innovation, and I'm sorry if I'm rushing through because I don't have too much time. I was giving small window and I get them. I understand we don't have time like that. So what do you think product innovation is? Can I have some answers in the chat box, or if they raise your hand, where am I going to see it? You can unmute and then let me know if you have any idea on what product innovation is. What is product innovation? Your products are unique. Okay, that's by Florence. James says products that meet evolving customer needs, right? So you see now customers are becoming more learned. They are becoming more strategic in their buying decisions. They are becoming more involved, in the businesses that they deal with. Customers are more learned. So they know what they want. Sometimes they even do their research, they do their comparative analysis and everything before they come to you. So then you know that because they know what they want, you literally have to keep innovating to be able to meet those expectations. And I think that's what James is talking about. Frederick says, improving on an existing product by adding additional features, which is beautiful, right? So imagine Coca-Cola. If you're looking at Coca-Cola, for instance, how are they improving, or how are they innovating on their product? Because Coca-Cola has been the same for years and decades. So when you look at Coca-Cola, one of the things that they are doing to innovate is not even in the product itself, because the formula is set in stone. What they're doing is giving it in different container sizes to meet your pocket size. So there's a dwarf bottle, and then there's a giant bottle, and then in between there are so many different bottles. And for them, that is innovation, right? They don't have to necessarily change the products. And I hope you are learning how some of these global brands do it, and even local brands. You don't necessarily have to keep changing the products, because the moment people have accepted your products and then you change the product, what happens is that all those people that have accepted your product before will have to now also start, experimenting with each new product, or they'll just go to one that they are familiar with. So don't be in a hurry to always innovate and change your product entirely. Sometimes it can just be something in and around the product and not the product itself. So James, Frederick, thank you so much for that. Janet says, product innovation is adding more value to your goods and making it outstanding. Okay. Hello. James says your comments are just going to the host and panels now. Oh, okay. Okay. Your unique feature of a product, Diet Coke. Okay. Well, so that's a segment that they created for the other people that will not take Coke because of the level of sugar in that, the original Coke. So then it's a substitute, but I'm sure it's because they also listened to the segments that were not primarily their customers. And I need to emphasize on this, okay? When you have a product that has gone through all the changes to a point where people are accepting it, don't be in a hurry to change that product. Be in a hurry to get a lot more people to accept it. What happens to a lot of small and medium-sized businesses is that the moment we get some feedback from one or two people, we tend to go back to the drawing board and want to change things. But please, trust me when I tell you that sometimes the people that are even giving you these negative feedback or constructive feedback is not necessarily because they want to patronize, right? If people are buying, what should occur to you is that what is making them buy, and how many people have this need or have this demand that my products and service can also serve. So your focus is expanding your market size and not necessarily changing your product. Please bear that in mind. If you started your business and you have, let's say, 50 clients, you have 10 clients, the question is, if the number of people that are giving you constructive feedback are not more than the number of people that are patronizing, don't be too quick to listen. Because a lot of the times when we go through all these trainings and business class and all that, we say, listen to the customer feedback, listen to the customer feedback. But are you able to determine the statistics of the customer feedback? How many customers do you have? If you have 100 customers, 70 of them are okay with your product as it is, and then 30 of them are not. Are you going to change the entire product because of the 30 or maintain it because of the 70? Why don't you start thinking that you need more of the 70 types than trying to please the 30 types? So bear that in mind. Sometimes you are not going out there too much. Sometimes you are not, exposing your product enough. So the problem might be marketing and not necessarily product development. Anyway, so these are just things that I am stopping to let you know because of the comments that I'm getting. All right, so let's just go straight into it. Rushing through, the product innovation is a process of developing new products or improving existing ones to better meet customer needs or enter new markets or gain a competitive edge. Please bear these three things in mind, right? A company like Asapreko, when they were going to other countries in Africa, they went with different product types because the markets needed different product types. For instance, one of their products was in bottles, but then when they went to new markets, they had to put it in sachet because the way they consume that product in that new market was different from the way people consume it in Ghana. So even though it was the same product, the packaging was different because of the new markets that they were trying to enter. And for those of you who have traveled a bit, you realize that some products that we consume in Ghana, when you go out there, even the way it tastes is different. Typical example is KFC. KFC tastes a bit different in African countries than they taste in other countries that they are there in Europe and all that. Why? Because we like pepper, we like what do you call it, spices. So then they have to add the spices because our taste buds like those things. So if they don't change it a little bit just to meet our taste buds, they're not going to be sustainable in the market. So maybe because you have customer needs statistically, that is necessitating the product innovation, or you're going into a new market that you need to really look at how the dynamics are, or you are trying to gain competitive advantage, so you're adding something small to it just to distinguish you from your other competitors. So primarily these are the three reasons why any company should innovate when it comes to their products. If you don't have any of these reasons, please just focus on selling and selling and selling every day. Are we okay? Eventually, when you get enough capital, you bring in other people whose research will necessitate evolving your products. Until then, just keep selling. It is a crucial driver of growth and profitability, especially in industries where technology and consumer preferences evolve quickly. Innovation doesn't always mean inventing something brand new. Often, it's about reimagining what already exists to serve customers' needs. By combining creativity with customer insight and the right tools, businesses can continuously deliver products that not only meet expectations but exceed them, right? So let's look at the different dynamics of innovation. Incremental innovation, these are small improvements on upgrades to existing products, adding new features or improving the design. Example, a smartphone with an improved camera or a battery life. Those of you who use iPhone, you know that this incremental innovation is what Apple does. Unlike Samsung that does like disruptive innovation, Apple or iPhone does incremental innovation. They literally sometimes just change something small. But now, because of demand for disruptive innovation, if you've realized, Apple is also now trying to succumb to the demand. Recently, they brought something called the liquid, they call it what? Liquid glass. That is the innovated, the transformed iOS, which is like transparent. Now because the market is asking for disruptive innovation because every other brand is disrupting the sector. So then iPhone is literally being forced by its customers for disruptive innovation. But up until now, what they've been doing is what is known as incremental innovation. Now, disruptive innovation, introducing a product that significantly changes industry dynamics by creating new markets or disrupting existing ones. Example, Netflix. Netflix completely shut down DVDs. Why? Because it was a disruptive innovation. Now, breakthrough innovation. This is radical innovations that are based on new technologies or scientific advances. Example, electric vehicles powered by advanced battery technologies. Tesla. Tesla is a breakthrough innovation and it was first to enter the market. So it wasn't a surprise that they were able to really capture enough market size before BYD and all those other electronic vehicles brands started now coming to take part of Tesla's market size. But that is a breakthrough innovation. Another one is sustainable innovation, which focuses on eco-friendly product design, materials, or production methods, which is biodegradable packaging or refillable personal care products. Now, this is where the society is now calling for sustainable products, right? So we have big issues with non-reusable plastic or one-time use plastics, and then it's all over the place. It's causing all sorts of havoc. It's choking the gutters, floods everywhere. So now collectively, the society gets upset about certain types of products. And the moment you hear that people are talking, a lot of small businesses don't pay attention to news. The moment you see the voice of the people is the voice of government, and the voice of government is what literally changes policies. And some of us, our businesses can completely be obsolete by one policy change. And that's why, as a business person, you need to pay attention to what's happening in the ecosystem, in the community that you function, in the country that you function, and especially social media. Social media has become so powerful that when people collectively are asking for something to be changed, automatically the government listens, parliament listens, and then a policy is drawn, and then it is completely implemented. So sustainability is not something we think about because most of us want to reduce cost. But eventually, when enough people are asking for sustainable products, you realize that you would definitely have to innovate, right? Steps to achieve product innovation. Understand customer needs. Conduct surveys, interviews, focus groups to gain deep insight into customer pain points and desires. Market research and competitor analysis, which is identify gaps in the market, emerging trends, and what? Competitors' weaknesses. Ideation and concept development. Use brainstorming techniques and design thinking to generate and refine your ideas. Prototype development. Create mockups and MVPs, that's most valuable product, to test product's functionality and appeal, right? Customer validation, use beta testing in the case of SaaS, that is software as a service, or feedback loops to refine the products before a full-scale launch. Interactive design and improvement, use agile methodologies to continuously update and improve the product. And then launch and post-market monitoring, analyze product performance, gather user feedback, and then make necessary updates. Now, before we even get to service innovation, all this gets overwhelming for a small business. Trust me when I tell you, I know what you go through. All right, dealing with salaries, especially now that the month has ended. A lot of you have to deal with salaries, you have to deal with other bills, you have to deal with government, you have to deal with so many things, right? But at the end of the day, these things are important, and that's going to buttress what I said before. Professionals that can help you go through these processes don't necessarily have to be expensive if you're not taking too much time. So when you understand the foundation or the basic knowledge and you are involving other people to help you do these things, introduce these innovations, it's not as expensive because you have the fundamental knowledge. So if you're already getting overwhelmed, please relax for me, okay? Don't be overwhelmed. These are things that you do every day. We are only putting them in perspective. All right, now let's take a quick look on service innovation. What is service innovation? Okay, Florrie says I should give examples with Ghanaian brands. Okay, I will do that. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of research on Ghanaian brands. So sometimes we use brands that everybody can relate with. But I will definitely work on giving you some examples as I go along with Ghanaian brands, okay? Because sometimes, because you don't also patronize Ghanaian brands, I won't be able to tell you. But let's take, for instance, Kantanka. Okay, that's a typical Ghanaian brand. Now, Kantanka, when it started, had to show us that they can do automobiles in Ghana. So they came with all these strange innovation that was supposed to be destructive innovation. So they came with tankers, they came with limousines. I don't know if you remember, whenever they did their technology shows, they came with so many different types of product innovation. But then when they started commercializing, you realize that now they had to come up with products that the customers need. So now they started doing their pickups, they started doing their saloon cars. And even now, even though they are doing pickups and saloon cars, they realize that there's a very high demand for highly efficient, fuel efficient vehicles. So now they are going down to doing those small fuel efficient cars. And that is they listening to the public and the needs and the demands of the public and innovating their products to be able to meet the needs and the demand of their product. I mean, the customers, right? So that's a typical example. I'm sure if you study, you'll get to know. But as we go along, I'll also share some Ghanaian examples that I know. So thank you for drawing my attention to that. All right. I'm hoping I also get to use your examples with time. And that's why you need to be putting out information about your business. Don't be shy about it. And don't think that witches and wizards will collapse your business just because you are sharing. Okay. If I knew your business, I could use it now and then it would give you a bit more marketing and PR. So put information about your business out, and then let us also be able to use it as examples. Okay, let's go straight to it. I see that I'm running out of time. Service innovation. So just like product innovation, which focuses on the product, we are looking at the service delivery when it comes to service innovation. Okay, it is creating new or improved services that offer greater value, convenience, personalization, or satisfaction to the customer. Unlike product innovation, which focuses on tangible items, service innovation centers on how value is delivered. Service innovation isn't just about doing things differently. It's about doing them better for the customer. By embedding empathy, agility, and creativity into your processes and leveraging the right tools, you can consistently deliver services that exceed expectations and drive business growth. And this is just adding a bit more value. Okay, I know Coca-Cola might not necessarily be an indigenous brand, but it's one of those globally studied brands that we can all relate to. For instance, when they were trying to personalize their service, one of the things that they did was that they introduced something that you could have your name on the Coca-Cola bottle. I don't know if you've experienced that before, right? So they can put florins on the Coca-Cola bottle. They say, share a Coke, right? That is an innovation that is not necessarily products. It is an innovation that is service. It is personalizing the experience for the users or the customers. So then if they write your name, Ekow, on a bottle of Coke, you feel like, oh, it's branded for me, right? So that is an example of service. Forgive me again. I'm sure I'll give you some examples locally, right? But that is a typical example of how a small business can personalize the service for its customers, and patrons. Now let's look at why it matters. It differentiates you in a saturated market. It increases customer retention and lifetime value. It boosts operational efficiency. And then it's a response to evolving digital and social trends. And here I would pause a bit and then tell you that customers are no longer loyal to products alone. They stay for the experience. Okay, and because social media is so profound, those of you that have been on social media for more than 10 years, you realize that when it started, people were not, the adaptation took a while, especially with very recognizable brands. But now look at it, even banks, international organizations, all of them are paying close attention to social media to the extent that it's inseparable. You cannot separate your presence on social media from the perception that people have of your brand. Banks they are jumping on trends on TikTok. In unimaginable things that we never thought. Churches are doing it, and now you realize that social media is not just a tool for gossip. Social media is a critical brand innovation, service innovation, product innovation, and then marketing and social, appeal platform that can enhance the appeal of your products and services to your target market. So those of you who are not paying attention to it, please do pay attention to it. And then if you need a professional to help you, go out there and get one. It's not that expensive. All right. Types of service innovation. One is process innovation. This is redesigning how a service is delivered for better efficiency, speed, or cost. Example, mobile check-ins at hotels replacing the front desk queues. Okay, experience innovation, enhancing the emotional and psychological experience of a customer. Example, a bank offering financial wellness coaching as part of its services. And I can tell you, and most of you have probably experienced, years ago, when we had our indigenous and traditional banks, okay, I'm not going to mention any bank, but then you realize that we had to go there, we had to form queues, we had to sit for a long time before we got served, which is okay. But then with the introduction of the foreign banks from SA, from Nigeria, and other places, what you realize is that the service completely got innovated on, right? Now, banks were coming to us in our offices. They were actually helping us through the process of acquiring loans. They were helping us through the process of KYC, helping us to open an account. And they were literally at our beck and call, unlike before, where none of us ever saw a banker at our office, our school, or even at our home. That is service innovation. They transformed the face of banking in Ghana by the introduction of service innovation. Because you see, the truth is, banking, just like insurance, is the same thing everybody is doing. Everybody is doing the same thing. So then what distinguishes one from the other is service innovation, right? So imagine if a bank is offering financial wellness coaching as part of its services or as part of an added value for opening an account. Now you realize that a typical local example is Omni Basic, right? Forgive me if I'm not supposed to do, this is not marketing, but you realize that that is an indigenous bank that has gone through a lot of changes from Omni and Basic and coming together into one brand, which is Omni Basic. And now the complete service innovation that they are going through to be able to be more visible and then to be able to serve their customers well. You realize that now they're even adding their quarterly health walks. A bank doing health walks. What has a bank got to do with health walks? But you see, that is service innovation. They are adding something else, which is outside the service they already provide, giving value to the people that they serve and then attracting those that they don't serve yet. Because if they go for health walks, people are going to read it in the news, they're going to see it on the news and everything. And then people who are not part of their customers will now look at, okay, what is the tangible and intangible value of being a customer of this bank? One, they can network with other people that go on this health walk. They can, sell their businesses. They can be healthy and things like that. So think about those things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. A health walk is not really expensive, is it? People are walking. Yeah, it's not like you're taking a bus. They just meet at one place, they move from one place to the other. You just get security and all those things. You can do a keep fit. You don't have to do health walk. Maybe keep fit. Bring people together once a month and then let them exercise. And then whilst they are doing that, you can introduce your product to them. All those things are part of what we call the experience innovation. Now, let me move on quickly. We have the business model innovation that is changing the way services are packaged, priced, or offered. Example, subscription-based health and wellness services. And I'm sure some of you have experienced subscription-based health and wellness services. An example is a friend of mine's company, which is TNU, right? They focus on helping women, especially those that have gone through maybe childbirth or they've gone through a certain issue where it has made them gain weight or just, lifestyle. So they've gained weight and then they want to lose the weight. So then they've packaged the weight loss service into a subscription-based service. That is a business model innovation. So then now they sell the things to them, and then as part of it, they get a portion where they do meals planning. A portion where they do keep fit and exercises and things like that. And it's nice. So you are getting a service that meets your need. You're also getting the benefits of a community. You're getting the benefits of knowledge, and you're getting the benefits of even friendship. And because of that, people would be loyal to the brand. Digital service innovation, leveraging technology to introduce new channels and digital features. Example, virtual consultations in healthcare or chatbots in customer service, right? The COVID really was devastating, but COVID is one of those single natural events that has transformed a lot of how we do things. Look at us doing this. Before COVID, we weren't doing this. But after COVID, this is normal, right? Having virtual classes and things like that. And it doesn't cost much beyond your data and time. So imagine if you're in a certain business and then you have virtual calls like this where you teach people how to, for instance, you're in skincare business, right? You're teaching people the types of skins that there are. You're teaching people the types of activities that they involve in that would trigger their skins. You're teaching people harmful product that you stay away from. You're giving them value through a medium that does not cost you a lot. And because of that value, you get people coming back, you get people recommending you, and you get to expand your market size. So these are things that you should be thinking about when you're thinking of service innovation. They don't have to be expensive, but they are things that really provide additional value beyond the products or service that you offer. So steps to drive service innovation: identify customer pain points, conduct empathy mapping. I don't know if you've heard of empathy mapping before, but basically it's like putting yourself in the shoes of your customers. Please, anything here that you don't know, just put it in Google or any AI chatbot, and then they'll be more than happy to explain. Like I said, you don't have an excuse to be ignorant now because access to knowledge is easier than ever, right? So conduct empathy mapping and journey mapping and interviews to find service gaps. Define the service opportunity, focus on the job to be done, what customer is trying to achieve and how you can do it better and differently. Ideate and co-create. Use collaborative brainstorming and involve both employees and customers. And here, I would commend UNDP, because this is an institution that is partnering with other service providers to make this available to a lot more people beyond, their immediate reach. And those are some of the collaborations that we encourage. Because if you're doing a business, maybe in skincare, somebody is doing a business in healthcare, you can partner as long as you're non-competitive. You can easily partner, and then you both leverage on each other's client base, and then expand your reach and also increase your revenue. Prototype and test. Pilot your service enhancements on a small scale. Collect feedback and iterate. And then lastly, scale and monitor. Roll out improvements organization-wise and use analytics to track impact. Now, these are some tools that can support both products and service innovation, right? In fact, when it comes to, I think I left service, so both products and service innovation. If you've not heard of any of these tools, please don't worry. All you have to do is just Google it. Or if you don't like reading, go to YouTube, put it in YouTube, it will teach you. There are so many resources out there that can help you understand these tools that can help you through the process of innovating your service or your what product. Now, MindMeister is for mind mapping and visual brainstorming. Google Trends to track and compare the popularity of search queries, right? So for those of you who have businesses that you've built your SEOs, that's your search engine is very optimized. You can use Google Trends to check how many people are searching for particular things, right? And based on that, you can use that to innovate your product or your service. Statista is like a research platform. It provides market statistics and data for various industries across the globe, right? Typeform or SurveyMonkey for customer service, customer surveys, and product feedback. You can just put in the questions in and send a link to your friends, your customers, let them fill and give you some feedback. Trello, Jira, or Asana for managing product development sprints and tasks. Some of these tools are for IT-based businesses, but don't worry. I think that if you didn't know, now you know. And now that you know, you can put in a lot more effort to search and see how these tools can help you to speed up your products and service innovation. Products Board helps prioritize features based on customer needs and product strategy. Google Analytics to track product usage and user behavior. Amplitude, behavior analytics platform to understand user journeys. Power BI, and those of you who don't know Power BI or Tableau, you can just use Excel, right? It's for data visualization and performance reporting. And then Design Thinking Canvas is a virtual tool for developing human-centered service solutions. I think I have to be wrapping up now. So I'm sure you know why innovation matters because we've said it over and over throughout. It differentiates your offerings from your competitors. It enhances customer experience and satisfaction. It captures new market segments. It improves operational efficiency and profitability. Now, I would skip this because I think we've spoken about it throughout. But when I send it, you can have it. And then, how do you measure innovation success? Innovation must drive tangible results. Please bear this in mind. It's not because we are saying that innovation, even if people are requesting for a product, because you have come for an innovation webinar or class, you go and you gather your people, Charlie, how can we innovate? You don't need to innovate the product. You probably just have to add a bit more value to the service you're offering. Okay, so to be able to measure innovation, you need to be able to know, has it increased your market size? So these are like KPIs for innovation, right? So market size increase. Do you have more customers or have you penetrated a lot more virgin markets? Maybe you are predominantly in Accra, but then now that you've started innovating, people in Takrady are asking for your product. People in Tamale are asking for your products. People in Kumasi are asking for your product. So your market size is increasing, but it's regionally, right? So all those things are important, and it will come by measuring customer feedback, customer retention and satisfaction scores, revenue from new products and services, speed to market, and internal engagement in idea generation. Okay, so these things are important. Now, let me just close on giving you an understanding on what competitive markets are, right? And then I think I will take some questions and then I'll be done for today. And I'm sorry again for rushing because this is like, a whole day workshop, but because of time. Now, measuring innovation success. Oh, forgive me. A competitive market refers to an economic environment where multiple businesses offer similar or substitute products and services, and no single entity has the power to dictate prices or control the market. In such a market, supply and demand determine prices, competition drives innovation, quality, and what? Customer service. Competitive markets are essential because they encourage efficiency and innovation. They keep prices reasonable, they provide customers with variety and choice, and they push businesses to what? Improve value delivery. Now, let's look at some characteristics of a competitive market. One, there are many buyers and sellers. So there's no single player that can dominate the market. That is, power is distributed. More often than not equally, right? That's why we have those market sizes. So somebody might have a big size and then another might have a small size. But then the difference is really the strategies they are using to secure and then hold their customers. The second one is similar products and services. Firms offer comparative products that fulfill the same need. For example, banks, insurance companies, they offer the same thing. Even hospitals, the difference is really maybe the way they accept you, the service quality, how they smile, those little things that they do that give you a good experience. And then here, I'll just pause and let you know that how we make customers feel lasts with them longer. Okay, so then always be intentional about giving customers a certain feeling that will enable them to keep coming back. So free entry and exit. New business can enter or leave the market with relative ease. It's called ease of entry. Some of you are doing businesses that, and particularly in Ghana, we say that there isn't money. But the moment a product is doing well, you see the product everywhere. That shows you that there's money. They are just waiting for you to start it, confirm that there's market for this product, and then they will just unlock capital. And then before you realize, because it is easy for other people to replicate what you're doing, you realize that overnight, your product or service will be everywhere. So perfect information, that is, buyers and sellers have access to relevant information, though in real life, this is often imperfect, right? And then consumer choice, which is customers have a wide range of options and can easily switch if dissatisfied. Okay, you can't say this for ECG. Even if you are angry to the last straw, you will still switch your lights on when the light comes back. So you see, that is what monopoly is. So let me just conclude quickly. Perfect competition. This is a market where a large number of small firms offer identical products and no single firm can influence the price. Okay, in the insurance sector, something like this plays there, right? So sometimes they'll give you a bit of discount just to differentiate the price, but it's something that is determined from either the regulators or the sources or the market. So then there isn't much that people can do because the products are quite similar, okay? Fuel and all those things, they are similar. So then now, homogeneous product, that's agricultural product like rice and wheat, price takers. Businesses must accept market prices like that. When the CD is appreciating, a lot of people are hoping that the market will also respond to the CD appreciation. But Charlie, you will still buy anyway. Easy entry and exit, and then no brand loyalty. Farmers selling tomatoes at the local market. Impact on businesses. Businesses must focus on operational efficiency since profits are minimal and price competition is intense. Okay, monopolistic competition. This is a market where firms offer similar but not identical products, allowing for some degree of pricing power. Okay, so when you look at the the drinks market, the fizzy drinks market, for instance, nobody can ever do a drink like Coke with the same formulation and all that. Why? Because one, we don't even know the formula. It's heavily protected. Okay, but then beyond that, you realize that people are bringing similar products like Bell Cola and all those things, right? But at the end of the day, you realize that Coke is Coke. Okay, let me see. MTN is MTN. Before, is it Jacqueline or Florence comes for me? At the end of the day, Charlie, they offer similar but not the same. Okay, so differentiated product by brand, quality, design. For instance, I don't know if you've seen Kivo 3-in-1 and then the H&H Gary mix. And now I don't know if you've seen the Kivo answer to H&H Gary mix, because the Kivo 3-in-1 eventually was Gary, sugar, and then sweetener, right? And then the H&H Gary came with Gary, sugar, and then the milk powder, the cocoa powder. And then Kivo has now come with similar thing. It's similar. So now it's just a matter of penetration and then brand identity, and then, capturing enough customers. All right, let me close. Example, fashion brands, restaurants, and then hair salons. Now, the world is so social that even fashion is like very competitive. And there are particular fashion designers that people book for 6 months, even 1 year, just to get their dress sewn by that particular fashion designer. And that is a way of them monopolizing the market, you see. So, okay, so oligopoly is a market dominated by a few large firms, each with significant control over prices and market share. When you look at the telcos, this is how it is, okay? Even though one is really monopolizing the market, but the truth is that not everybody can get into a telco, right? Not everybody can even get into a commercial banking sector because the requirements is quite tough. The capital needed is a lot, and the regulations, it's heavily regulated. So you realize that it's a few large firms that are actually taking over. When you look at the fintech landscape, even though fintech is very attractive, we all know that it's very attractive. When we see MTN's quarterly revenues and profit margins, we are like, Charlie, this is lucrative, but we can't easily enter the market because it's expensive. All right, so this is where a few large firms dominate the market, like telecommunication, like I mentioned, right? Let's look at monopoly. The market with one provider of a product or service, hands down, ECG. So at the end of the day, even individual power producers have to go through some sort of a regulatory framework to be able to get a license to be able to produce, right? You know that Sogli power plants and all that, that's an individual investment. And people can go into it, but mostly when it comes to distribution, legally, it's only one company that is part of the country, and then the up north also have their own, power provider. But at the end of the day, distribution is done by just one. So it's a unique product with no close substitute. It has high barriers to entry, legal, technology, and financial. And then the price maker is set prices without competition. Fortunately, because of PURC, these utilities are regulated. So then they can't set astronomical prices. All right. So thank you so much. I will take a few questions and then be out of your way. I know I've exceeded my time. Apologies. You made me rush through, but it's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ekow. Before we do questions, we will invite all of our participants to please leave their questions in the chat. Ekow will be answering them kindly. But before we do participants, we have a very brief session. You've talked about what it looks like, what's an oligarchy, what it is service innovation, what is product innovation, but we have an innovator who will speak to what this looks like in real life, as more specifically within the Ghanaian context, which I know a lot of our participants have been very excited to hear about. So let me just check that Ronald Tego is on the call. Ronald, can you hear
Yes,
me?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
wonderful. So
Awesome.
speaking to us this afternoon and giving us an idea of what product and service innovation looks like is Ronald Tego. He's a computer science graduate from KNUST. But driven by his passion for artificial intelligence and social commerce, he founded what's called Chatbots Africa to empower African MSMEs like yourselves through AI and chatbots for enhanced revenue and customer engagement. In 2014, he won the Transform Africa Youth Innovation Award. In 2021, he won the award for Technology Entrepreneur of the Year. And then in 2022, he was one of the 40 under 40 Africa list. So he's an innovator like yourself. I don't know, Ronald, are you still an MSME? I don't know if he still counts as an MSME. But he's also been part of the Stanford University Aspire program, and it's a pleasure to have him here to share his experience innovating with Chatbots Africa. So over to you, Ronald.
All right, thank you very much, Emilia. It's always a pleasure to interact with you and also be on the call with Ekow. Ekow Mensah is a senior colleague. So, Ekow, thumbs up for the awesome work that you are doing. And I'm seeing all the comments there. I'm jealous. I wish I was also on the session to listen in, but it's fine. So, I'll just walk through the journey of Notify, where we started from and where we are at and what we are doing and how product innovation has been something that has been the core of what we do. So back in 2012, when I was a student on KNUST campus, we realized that there was a big problem and that there was an issue of the school authorities having challenges engaging directly with the students. So this was before WhatsApp, and there was posters all over around campus. And more so when there were events, event organizers struggled to reach out to the right target audience. So we started off with a student notification system to help bridge the barrier between the investor authorities and students. And when we did that, there were a few challenges here and there, but KNUST was able to adopt that. So the Dean of Students used that to
Hi, Ronald. We seem to have lost
communication of that direct
Okay,
engagement. So
we're
then
back.
we launched out with Notify. Notify started as a book SMS. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. We can hear you now. Go ahead. Please go ahead. Hello? Hi, Ronald. I think we've lost your sound again. So
Yes,
whilst we
am I
get...
audible now?
Yes, you're back. You're audible.
Perfect. I changed my internet. Okay, so where did you lose me?
On campus, you identified a problem with the posters, and then I think you were up to that's how Notify was formed.
Yes, so I mean, Notify started off as a bulk SMS company, and post school, I mean, I had a chance of working with a lot of organizations from banks and all the likes and all that. But then 2020, COVID hit, and I realized that there were a lot of transactions happening on social media, but people lacked a way to effectively engage their audience. So I'm sure most of you would share my experience when I see, for example, I try ordering for spectacles online on Instagram, and it took the business owner a while for them to like respond to my message. And what was even quite frustrating was the fact that now when I was ready to buy, I had to send the money to him. I had to confirm my location, pay delivery separately. So all of this was scattered. And they made buying online or on social media very, very, very frustrating. So we then decided to come up with Chatbots Africa, a simple way for businesses to be able to engage their audience on Instagram, Facebook, and the like. So automates the sales process, automates the conversations. And mind you, this was before ChatGPT even became a thing and a craze. And once we did this, it was very, very exciting only for businesses. I remember the likes of Doman, who was constantly having several calls coming in for people to order donuts, and these were repetitive. So he was able to use our chatbots not only to automate his manual processes, but I was able to increase sales by over 30%. And the beauty of it is that now he was able to hear directly from the customers, all with the power of AI, where now instead of when a customer, when you order for a cake or a pizza, it has to be delivered by a dispatch guy, and sometimes they end up messing up a nicely packaged item. And there were instances where he was able to hear directly from the customers on like some reviews on how his packaging was, the delivery and all the process and all of that. So with the power of AI, he was able to hear directly from thousands of customers at the same time because all of this was automated. But then, interestingly, we realized that chatbots is awesome, AI is awesome, but a lot of businesses don't know about AI and don't understand how to integrate their how to integrate AI into their business. So post that, we then now decided to do MSME AI. And the idea behind MSME AI is that we come into your business or as an SME, we speak to you and understand your business processes and where you are in your AI journey, and we help you integrate AI into your operations. Mind you, this is because as a tech firm, we've been using AI for a long time internally within our operations and all of that. So it's very easy for us to recommend all of that. But why do I tell this journey? I tell this journey because of the fact that we started off as a bulk SMS company, but today I'm very proud of the successes that we've chalked, and I'm always excited to call my company a customer engagement brand, in the sense that now we provide everything that a business needs in order to engage our customers, be it a call center, be it a call center solution, be it a chatbot solution on social media, be it regular bulk SMS. And being able to do this has also sort of separated us from the competition. Because now if you tell me that my competitor is a bulk SMS company, I'll tell you that you are wrong. I am a customer engagements brand. If you tell me that my competitor is a tech firm, well, I'll say yes. But then what makes me better than a tech firm is the fact that I'm directly connected to the telcos and I can offer other VAS related services. So being able to innovate at MNotify has helped us to separate ourselves from the market, and also helped us unlock several revenue streams for ourselves, because then initially we were depending on only bulk SMS, but now we have revenue coming in from software development, from call center solutions. And I'm even happy to announce that we are even about to pilot our AI call center solutions. And all of these iterations of innovation have been because of one thing: the fact that we listen to the customers and we try to find the easiest and quickest way to solve the customer's pain point. All the way from when we were students back on KNST campus, we realized that there was a problem, and we looked for the very simple and easiest way to solve that problem with the use of SMS. Then we post that, we realized that, okay, transactions on social media is rising. People are having a lot of fraud issues where they send money, they don't receive the items, and then a lot of other issues. How do we streamline all of that? And that's when we did that with AI and chatbots. And now we also saw the challenges that small businesses have with managing their calls and call center. And that's how come we also developed our phone line call solution. So the biggest learning that I would want you guys to take away for today is that innovation is good, but innovation always starts with the customer. And for you to be competitive in the Ghanaian and in the African ecosystem, you need to learn how to innovate by listening to the customer first and giving them a very simple solution that can solve their problem. From there, you can expand on the solution to do a lot of other things and unlock revenue for your business. I mean, I say it to make it all look and sound nice and rosy, but it's all because of the fact that I've also been part of incubator programs like MESCIO, like Stanford Seed, like Google Accelerator for AI first companies. And in all of this, there's been several learnings, there's been several use cases and opportunities to pilot some of the solutions that we have. So my other lesson for you would always be platforms like this are superb, and always look for opportunities to sell yourself, to pitch your product, to get ideas from that, and to join incubator programs, accelerator programs, just to give you the exposure and open your mind to a new way of thinking as well. So Emilia, I know it was supposed to be 10 minutes. I hope I've not beyond 10 minutes, but that's the little I want to share with the audience.
No, you're well within 10 minutes. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Ronald. And it's very interesting to hear how you evolved from SMSs to now, no, not AI. You've even moved beyond AI chatbots to having call center solutions and being a customer experience hub. So, in summary, what Ekow has spoken about, everything from what it looks like to innovate, to hearing what it on the ground in Ghana in practical terms means to innovate. Hopefully this has been very helpful. Now I'm opening the floor for questions. I know there's been a lot of talk in the chat, but I haven't seen any specific questions, though Alma is asking how to integrate AI into their operations. She runs a kente weaving factory. We were also going to ask what you think we should cover in our next session. So it looks like AI is in the running, because I think I saw another question around AI as well. So please, you can drop your questions in the chat. You're also welcome to just raise your hand and I'll call on you to ask your questions. Ronald is still here, I think, for a few minutes. And then, of course, our facilitator, Ekow Mensah, is happy to answer questions. So there's a question here from Jerry Asari. He's asking Ekow, so this question is to you, Ekow, that as a poultry farmer, what advice would you give him to attract investors to scale up?
You see, I think that this one, I think Roland might be even better at answering than myself. But you see, whenever we talk about investors, depending on the type of investors you're looking at, all right, their interest might differ. So there are different types of investors. We have from debt investors, which is mostly what we know as the loans, and then we have the grants, we have the angel investors, we have the equity investors, and then we have the large institutional investors as well. So depending on the type, of course, we have impact investors as well. So depending on the type of investors, right? The type of ticket sizes they do, the type of industries, their focus and all that, it helps any business to position themselves to be able to attract those investors. What is interesting is that a lot of businesses think of investors as an immediate solution to a financial problem. Investors are not there to solve financial problems of businesses. Investors are there to accelerate the scale and the growth of a business so that they can also make money or make impact. So then you need to be able to show traction in your numbers to tell them that, listen, it's either you are having this level of download rates for tech businesses or this level of patronage, and then you have this size of markets that you're going to serve, for which when their investment comes in, whatever you've achieved in that small margin can now be escalated into a big margin for you as the business owner to be able to make money, and for the investors to also make money, because they make money from dividends, right? And then they also make money from selling off the shares that they have in order to make their money back. So depending on the type of investors you're looking at, it's first and foremost important to do your research to figure out, okay, what type of business, what type of investment you're looking for, how long do you have, and then what do you need the money for? So if you are in dire need of financial assistance to be able to meet a certain demand, the advice is go to the banks. And I know that a lot of people say that hey, the banks, they don't listen to us and all those things. But the truth is that it's somebody's money they are giving you. So they need evidence to reduce their risk. And that's where your paperwork comes in, right? Tell us your profit and loss. Give us your financial statements. Let us know your financial performance for the next 3 years. And what is going to mitigate this risk for me? So bring collaterals. The fortunate thing is that when you talk about equity investors, they don't need collaterals, but they need three main things. One, what is the size of the market? All right. Two, who are the people that are running this business? And then three, now what is the product or the service? Because you see, with their investments, you can put in the money to even innovate the product and the service. So that's not really their focus as much as it is the size of the market and then the people that are running the business. When the size of the market is huge and the people that are running the business are fantastic and the product is equally good, then getting investors, they'll fight for you. But then, for instance, the poultry farmer, right? What you're doing is not, and forgive me if I'm quite blunt. People don't like me when I'm blunt. But when you're going for people's money, I think we need to be blunt. The poultry farmer, is good you're doing that, but what's the size of the market? You're assuming that, okay, everybody eats chicken and everybody eats eggs, right? So figure out what the size of the market is. Figure out who you're serving currently. Figure out why you need the money and how big the size would be when you get the money and what you can capture with the investment. And then figure out why you even need to go for what type of investors. Now, when you answer all these questions, then we can come back and say, what is the current state of your business? Would you pass due diligence? Is it big enough when it comes to valuation? Because some people are looking for some kind of money that the moment you get it, you won't own your business anymore. Because the total value of your business is less than the money you're looking for. And these are things that I think Nimdie Series and all those things, when they are getting to the practical side of it, can help you. But my last advice on this is never go look for money when you're desperately in need of money, because you wouldn't get it. Desperation shows risk, and risk is something that money doesn't like. Start looking for money now that you don't need it, and then being committed to everything that they ask you to produce, right? Even if you don't have it now, work towards it. They ask you for a 3-year financial projection. You don't have it. So now in the next 3 years, work towards having it. So by the 3rd year, you would get it. But if the demand is not outweighing the supply, there's no way that any investor will find you worthy of investing in. And if the market is not lucrative enough, that also is a reason why you probably will not get investment. I know I've spoken a lot, but then I'm very passionate about people looking for people's money and not being patient enough to adhere to everything that they require to pass the due diligence to give them money. Investment is not difficult. It's just us who, the way we know how to do business, does not fit into the framework of the people that have money and what will make them comfortable to give you the money. I don't know if I
Thank you,
answered it.
hopefully answer the question, but we'll also add investment to the list of topics. MSME investment, we will look at adding it to the next set of topics for the Nimdie series. You can also put your topic ideas in the chat so that we can add this to our list for consideration. There was a question from oh, I hope I haven't lost it. Yes, there's a question from the Kente Weaver. Forgive me, I can't remember the name, but you had asked how you can integrate AI into your operations. I think this might be more geared towards Ronald, if he's still here. But there's a question on AI and how you can integrate it into your operations.
So I'm still here. So first and foremost, I'll say that follow my LinkedIn. I'm doing a series on how you can integrate AI into your business. But to give you what I would have posted maybe tomorrow or today, first and foremost, you need to understand your business. What are the various pillars of your business? Maybe you have customer support, operations. You need to agree first and foremost on like the various verticals or the operational lines of your business. Then once you have that, take one side. I agree on the impact areas, right? Then I'll take one of the areas, then say, okay, this is the area I want to integrate AI. So for Ekente, I'm sure it would be easy to integrate that into your customer support, right? So then the next question you ask yourself is that, okay, how is my customer support like today? Where do I want it to be with the use of AI? So we create that benchmarking. Now, the reason why creating the benchmark is very important because at a point, we would have to measure and see if we are making sense or not with the integration of AI, because every business needs AI, but AI is not for every business. Why? Because you need to be in a certain stage in order to be able to fully utilize AI. So a typical example, if you are getting 2 or 3 orders from your Kente business, let's say on WhatsApp, once you integrate all of that, that's very good. But if after 1 month, 2 months, the orders have not upscaled, then there was no point integrating AI. But if say you've integrated AI and you are getting 3 orders, and you know, okay, because there's AI automation, I can then now invest, let's say, 500 USD on my Google ads or Facebook ads to get more traffic coming in. Then that way, using AI makes a lot of sense. If you are in the first stage of your business where you are now supposed to listen to customers, then it's not a good idea to integrate AI, because one other thing you need to know is that AI depends on data. So the other thing I always tell people as well too is that once you've agreed on the vertical that you want to start your integration with, what data do you have around that? So for example, if it is that you want to automate your sales process for your Kente or inquiries, say people come in, they ask the same questions every time, you want to automate that. The next thing is, what data do you have on the questions that they ask? Do you have, let's say, the FAQs written out down? Because AI will certainly learn from the data that you have. Then once you're able to get the data, you can now start on the AI journey with the integration. Certainly, MNoTrack can come in to help you with all of that. But the first steps are what I've shared. Just understand where you need to integrate the AI. Make sure you have the data there. Set your KPIs for future measurements. And from there, you look for the right tool to integrate. Hopefully, once you're able to answer all of the first 3 questions, getting the tool is very easy because there are several tools out there. You just need to get the one that meets your criteria. All right. Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
I'm sorry,
And
I'll just
yes,
add quickly. I think that from Roland's perspective, because it's a tech firm, he was looking at integrating it into the business operations and the various, elements. But then I think that most SMEs should even know how to use it, because there are a lot of platforms that are already available that can enhance the way you even think about your business. So start from how do you use AI? How do you even understand how to put in the right prompt? And especially, how do you even get the policies and the documents needed for structuring your business in place? Because now more than ever, you can easily get policies, every policy that an investor might be looking for just by putting in the right prompts, right? So before you integrate, I think that get to learn how to use it. Whatever portals are there, whatever AI tools are there, which one can you easily use to enhance one, the state of your business, the brand of your business, get ideas on how to do the sales, get ideas on how to differentiate yourself in the market, even get ideas on statistics in your industry and sector across the globe, right? And even in the market that you are in, before you get to integration, which, like Ronald said, it's data. So if you don't have enough data, how do you integrate? Okay, so before you get integrating, please learn how to use it. What tools are available? How can it enhance your own thinking and way of doing business? And then how can it help you to get to the point where your business is properly structured with all the documents needed? And then now you can think of the integration. That's just something I wanted to add.
thank you very much. There's another question here. Adiza says she's a fashion designer, but she finds it difficult sometimes to get tailors and dressmakers for employment, and this affects her production to meet market demands. She wants to know if there's something that she's doing wrongly. Perhaps there's some advice. And Ekow, you can advise. I know, Ronald, you also have experience with hiring and staffing, so perhaps you can also speak to what it means for an MSME to deal with employees.
Okay, I'm not sure whether what I have to say would be internationally acceptable because of all these migration laws and stuff, but I'll share it, but a disclaimer, please, UNDP, this is not one, one. A lot of the people that are using skilled labor are finding it difficult to get indigenous skilled labor, mainly because Ghana, right? So then even people who know, they've gone for all these trainings and then they want to do it for themselves. So then it's important to do it in different stages. One, go to the fashion schools and then get them whilst they are still students. Whenever they come home, they can help you. That is one. Two, start a fashion school yourself and then transfer your knowledge, and then the people can help you in the time that they are still your students, right? And then the third one, which I said might be a bit controversial, is that get a hostel facility and then go and bring people from because honestly, you know that when you study the sector, a lot of the help is coming from outside the country because those people appreciate getting the opportunities to come and work. But of course, you need to make sure that migration laws and everything are not being flouted. But the truth is that if you want sustainable workforce for a thriving fashion business, you are likely to get it from outside the country. But then internally, start with the fashion schools, talk to the heads of the schools and everything, or start a whole fashion school, or get a hostel facility and bring these guys in and then get the work done, or outsource it, right? The reason is that when you're a fashion designer, a lot of people say they're fashion designer, but they're actually dressmakers. Any fashion designer that sews is a dressmaker because fashion designers don't sew. The reason is you design and then you get all the patterns and everything, and then you can actually sew it anywhere in the world. So then if you're a true fashion designer and you are looking at really scaling up your operations, you may not necessarily even have to sew here. But because we want to create jobs and everything, please ignore the last part. The first, in fact, the last two parts, the first two parts, I think would help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ekow.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer well received. I don't know if you have anything to add, Ronald. Did I miss any questions?
Maybe just to add to, I have seen the nail on the head, but maybe just to add to that, I think from my perspective, what has always helped me has been mentorship, right? Mentorship and partnership. So that's how I would maybe frame Ekow's responses. So I mean, get a few people that you can mentor, start up with. Majority of the time, people value loyalty, right? And once you help someone and put them to a certain place, it's difficult for them to betray you. Then now once they are working with you, I always tell my staff that I don't want you to work for me forever. At a point, I would want you to start your own business, do something, certainly not come and compete with me or go and work for a competitor, but do something and later you can call me and ask me for like business advice and all of that. And I mean, I have about 3 or 4 of my staff that ex-staff that are now doing well with their own business. And I'm so happy whenever I interact with them. But it's for me, it's about me being able to mentor those that I work with so that once they start their own business or whatever, I can still have that relationship with them. And there are even ex-staff that when I get software development gigs, I bring them on the project. So the same way, partnerships. Once you've gotten a few people, guys, you have trained, some will leave, some will betray you, some will certainly be loyal. These loyal guys, you can form a conglomerate. And once you have like a lot of work, you can always share. Like Ekow said, your job is not necessarily to make the final product, but have the idea, right? And as business owners, as CEOs, one of my mentors told me that as a CEO, you are not being paid for your physical work or your hard work. You are being paid for your strategic work or for the mind work. So it's always up to you to like come up with the right ideas, then get these guys on the lower level to either do it or like the mentors that you have around you, be it they run their own business, just give them some, let them do that. And they would appreciate that because then starting the business will be easy for them. So they will certainly appreciate all of that. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. And Sylvester is asking if you have any book recommendations for product service innovation, I guess, but
ChatGPT.
also
They should go to
for succeeding in
ChatGPT.
business.
They should
This
go to
particular book,
ChatGPT and then go to YouTube. See, right now, trust me,
uh,
if a book was written even 2 years ago, there's a tendency that the information is inadequate. The world of knowledge is changing so much, okay, that a lot of content that are in physical books have to be consistently upgraded, right? They of course they are what do you call it? Like perpetual wisdom that cuts across. For instance, if you put in the hard work, of course you reap the benefits. But then the truth is that because the world is constantly evolving, you always have to be focused on what information is relevant now. And the best way to do it is through YouTube, because YouTube is like a consistent 24/7 university. All right. And then there are so many platforms like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, Udemy, normal ChatGPT, and then even Google, right? And there's so much, you wouldn't even have time to read everything. So as much as I'm not trying to spoil anybody's book market, trust me, if you pick a book, check when it was written. It's not, if it's not perpetual knowledge or wisdom and it's practical, you need to make sure that it's actually at least recent from 2020, 2021, 2022, even 2023, before you start reading it and spending so much time. But there are available online tools that you can always use.
So maybe to add to that, I agree with him on that. And I mean, there's a quote that is like my first and only quote that I always say that the 21st century literate is not someone who cannot read and write, but someone who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because what you know yesterday can easily change today. But I think there's a book that I'm currently reading, which I would recommend to everyone, and it's about leadership, right? Because as business owners, leadership is very important. How you lead yourself and how you lead others as well. So it's a very old book on the contrary, but Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, right, by John Maxwell. I'd entreat all of us to just like make time to read it, just to help you understand some of the questions be asking yourself, your teammates, your questions that you need to ask even within your business and all of that. That's one book that I would recommend for everyone. I'm reading that and it's been insightful so far. Yeah.
Ronald, what was the topic?
It's on leadership. Good leaders ask great questions. It's a book
Okay.
by John C.
John
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
That's
Yeah.
good. And the reason I said use ChatGPT is not go there and just ask that's the question you're asking us. What books? That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah, I think maybe I didn't come across like don't read. I mean, I'm reading books from 18th century and all that. But what I'm saying is whatever topics you're looking for books to read on, when you put it in any like any of these ChatGPT platforms, it's going to give you an endless list. And then you can pick, you can even keep asking questions about specific problems you have, and it will refine its answers to a point where it gives you recommendations that are relevant to your current situations. So please don't get me wrong, right? And then please, Rhoda, when you finish, send me the book.
Sure. But I mean, to add to what Ekow, you're saying, right? I remember I was watching a video on ChatGPT, and the presenter said something. It was a TEDx video, and he said something that caught my attention. That in this time and age, you can pick on the minds of the likes of Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all of that through ChatGPT. He doesn't ask ChatGPT that mimic Elon Musk, or you be Elon Musk, and I'll ask my
True.
business
It's
question.
crazy, bro.
Yeah, so
We're
that's
using
to
like
explain
1%
what
of
he's saying.
ChatGPT.
Exactly. So we can all try that out. ChatGPT can be like your business advisor. I mean, it will not give you up up to the exact information you're looking at, but it will give you good frameworks to think and all of that. Right.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Ekow and Ronald, for being so accommodating of the questions. There's a link in the chat that will allow you to share your feedback and also to tell us what you want to listen to next on the Nimdie series. The link is here. I'll just go ahead and reshare it. We're kindly asking you all to take a few minutes and fill out this form. It's very simple. It just has a few questions. It's the way that we improve. It's the way that we innovate. And it's the way that we make sure that the next session is even better than this one. So that here the link is again. And we kindly ask you to fill this out, but especially the question on what other topics would you like us to discuss? What do you want to hear next? So this brings us to the end of today's, this quarter's Nimdie series. I want to go back through the chat and make sure that I haven't missed any questions. If there was a hand up, forgive me, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Rachel, yes, Rachel, you have your hand up. Please go ahead. Rachel, you raised your hand. Did you ask your question already? Okay. I thought I saw a hand up, but okay. All right. So for now, some of the topics that have come up is AI is investments for MSMEs, and it's also around, I guess, employer-employee relations. From some of the questions, let me go and make sure that I haven't missed any more questions. I think that's it. So far, we only have about 2 people that have answered the survey. This is very short. It won't take long. Rachel, your hand is up again. Do you want to go ahead and speak? Hi, Rachel. Let me see if it's an issue of being allowed to speak. Let me see. Millicent, can you give Rachel the permission to speak? Rachel, you should be able to speak now.
Okay, so it's Raphael, not Rachel. So I was wondering whether I'm the one you're calling or someone else.
Oh, Raquel, I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
No worries.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is actually my first time enjoying your seminar. I even got to know of it from the speakers, what do you call it, Facebook wall. So I'd like to know how I can get some of the past resources that have been discussed, because I've really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the positive feedback. We have all of our Nimdie series on our YouTube channel. Vanessa, would you mind putting the playlist here to the YouTube channel? On the UNDP Ghana YouTube channel, we have a playlist for Nimdie series. If you missed our last session, which was also incredibly impactful, you will find the entire session there. This session will also be on our YouTube channel as well. And then you can always go back and listen to it. And all of the ones that will be happening every quarter this year. So the next one will be happening in the coming quarter. You can also access it there. And then Ekow has so generously agreed to share his slides. So if you signed up by registering via your email, we should have your email and you will receive the slides from Ekow as well. Okay. All right, if there are no more questions, and if everyone has answered the survey, hopefully, Millicent, perhaps you can give us a count of how many people have completed the survey. Putting the link here again for easy access. Adam, would you like to say a few words or a quick vote of thanks before we wrap up?
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you very much, Amelia. So I'd just like to say thank you, first of all, to our speakers. This, I think, has been really insightful. There's been a lot of questions and engagement in the chats, which has been really encouraging to see. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And like Amelia mentioned, there's going to be the link for our YouTube page where you can engage later. So thank you all so much to our two speakers. Thank you very much. And we really want you to complete this survey because it informs what we are doing moving forward. Because we want to speak to your needs. So not necessarily as just coming up with topics that your needs, what you want to hear, and we'll do our best to try and address those topics. So again, thank you all so much. It's been a 2-hour session and you have all been very engaging from the very beginning. So this is just to say thank you very much. And we hope that in subsequent sessions, you have the opportunity to join. So again, thank you. And thank you, Amelia.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to go ahead and share the link to YouTube and to the last Nimdie series so that you can see what you missed. This one was in person. It was at the Accra International Conference Center. We'll likely have another in-person one before the year ends. So we'll be sure to send you the information, but you can take a look at it on YouTube here. I've just put the link in the chat, and we'll make sure that when we are sending you the email with the presentations, we share the link as well so that you can go ahead. Forgive me, I should have said at the very beginning that this session was being recorded. Hopefully you are okay with the fact that it was being recorded. There was a consent notification that popped up that the session was being recorded, and hopefully you are okay with the fact that it's being recorded. Forgive that I didn't mention this earlier on. But yes, thank you very much. So on behalf of UNDP, we are very grateful for having you join us for the past 2 years, for the past 2 hours and being with us. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Please remember to tell us what you want to hear from next in the next UNDP series via the link that we put in the chat. So thank you very much. We'll leave the page open for perhaps a few more minutes if there are any last questions for Ekow. But thank you, and we'll see you at the next Nimdie series. Thank you, Vanessa. She just put the link to YouTube in the chat. Thank you all. Have a wonderful afternoon.